tell you what, just watching COP, listening to all the conversations around climate change, and people are thinking, you know, you need to do something, a little something. A little something makes a difference. And, of course, it's quite a way away, Christmas. We're not there yet. But one of the things being looked at is, you know, you have these houses, and often, like this house here, this is Helen and John Attlesey, people decorating their houses. This is a home and garden in Soham. For charities, yeah? They raise money and they get people round to see the lights. They put a lot of effort into all of this. Yeah. But it's the energy that goes into this, isn't it? And so campaigners are now saying, look, get what you're doing, absolutely get what you're doing, but perhaps think of using LED lights because they use only 10% of the power of conventional strings of, like, Christmas lights.
Is that picture from previous years?
Yeah. But they're talking about, like, you know, that this monthly bill for this house, when these lights go up, goes into the hundreds of pounds. And we know we've been talking about energy prices, obviously, and lots of people struggling and are very, very concerned about that. But if you do this, I mean, the Energy Saving Trust says the UK could fill 15,500 hot air balloons with the carbon dioxide produced by our Christmas lights each year. 15,500 hot air balloons. It's a way of visualising, isn't it? Anyway, just be mindful. Mindful.
Yes. On a slightly different note, there have been some very important discussions going on lately all over the place about some very important things. Not given quite so much attention is the negotiations over the World Scotch Pie Championships. You may not be aware, but yesterday was the judging day.
What goes into a Scotch pie?
In the World Scotch Pie Championships. So they have 11 categories in all. These are two of the judges looking at the pies, or looking through the pies, or pretending to look through the pies. And there are 11 categories.
Did they eat all the pies?
The actual awards are given out in January. Yes, of course, they eat the pies because they're checking which one's the best pie, because it is an award. Now then,
like pie?
I've gone to the trouble of looking at what pie categories, because there are 11 categories in all, and I thought you might be interested to know the different categories of pie. So you've got Scotch pie, which I think is just a pie, football pies and savouries, macaroni pie.
I've seen those.
I'm not familiar with a macaroni pie.
It's like macaroni cheese in a pie.
Inside a pie. So we've got steak pie, we all know that. There's sausage roll, of course, the classic sausage roll.
That's a pie.
Cold savoury.
Is a sausage roll a pie?
These are all the categories they're judging within the pie awards. OK? So we've got where do we get to? Sausage roll, cold savoury pie, hot savoury, vegetarian savoury, hold on, haggis savoury.
Can't just sit here and read a list and not discuss the list.
Bridie and apple pies.
What's bridie?
Now, I didn't know what a bridie was, but I can tell you now, if you think along the lines of a pasty, it's basically sausage meat with folded over pastry, and apparently that's called a bridie, which is very similar in look to a pasty, but a pasty is a very particular thing. So,
what's the difference between that and then and a sausage roll? Just the way it's folded? Because it's sausage meat and pastry.
Yes, yeah, because it's entirely enclosed. Sausage roll, if you're familiar with the sausage roll, at either end it is open. So it's more like a kind of a piece of piping with sausage in the middle.
Do you enjoy eating pie?
Well,
what's your pie of choice?
You can't go wrong with that number of pie awards, can you? Anyway, it's been done. The judging's been done. January we find out who and what has won.
If you own a cat, I'm very confused by this article, but I've tried to figure it out. Basically, some science experiments being done. They put cats into a room, and then the cats would hear their owners' voices, and it confused them. And the reason this is interesting is because cats treat their owners as if they're prey, almost, or a source of food, which obviously owners are. So they always know where we are when it comes to being in the house or the garden, if you're fortunate enough to have a garden. So they did these experiments, and cats always know where you are. So you can surprise a cat, but if you surprise a cat by being somewhere where you're not supposed to be...
How many people have got a room in their house that they don't go in?
Well...
Well, not many people. I don't think many people have a house where you don't go in a room.
If you lived in a mansion...
Yeah, but that'd be a very limited number of people, wouldn't it? I think on the whole you use most of the rooms you've got.
It's not about that, it's about the cats.